truth.
Yo, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Morning Market Report. It is Wednesday morning, June 25th. We've got some markets moving up. Yesterday, we talked about $110,000 Bitcoin. We are trying to push up there right now. Bitcoin currently sitting at about 107,994, just under 108. Getting a little move up on that. We are seeing a pullback though happening on Circle today. We're going to talk about that a little bit, and we're going to talk about is Bitcoin poised to make a new all-time high? What needs to happen? What are we watching? And what we need to talk about really is July and Jerome Powell. Those are the two factors that are going to be sitting there in the way. You shall not pass. Gandalf the Grey, old Jerome Powell, going to be the thing that is stopping Bitcoin from hitting a new all-time high. It's coming up next month in July. So let's talk about all that and a whole lot more today on the Morning Market Report. Guys, you know what time it is. Take your seats. Get your notebooks out. Class is in session. Let's get it. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Morning Market Report. This is the Piper Academy Network, and I'm Piper Academy. We come at you every single morning, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, to bring you guys the news, the charts, and the markets, and everything you need to have knowledge, because knowledge is profit. Shout out to all the alumni that are in the chat right now, and shout out to my co-hosts. Let's go ahead and bring them up here. It is the OC Guy. What's up, man? How you doing today, bro?
Doing fantastic. Had enough time to take some very nice breakfast today. I took some toast with salmon in the morning. So I'm building up that protein and getting pumped, just like Bitcoin.
Getting pumped like Bitcoin. I love it, man. Yeah, so yesterday we talked about that liquidity heat zone where there was just a massive amount of liquidation sitting up there in the billions. And I said, that flag that you were showing, the measured breakout on that, hey, that's putting us in the same line there. We had a little bit of confluence on some cross analysis there, and looks like we could be kicking it up there to those levels today, OC. But let's go ahead and give a shout out to our chat group, or the alumni that are in the chat. Let's go ahead and bring them up here. There we go. Who all we got in here today? We got Alexandra G saying, I'm manifesting my vacay with that background, Army Piper. Let's do it, Alexandra. You are more than welcome to go on a cruise anytime with the wife and I. We would love to have you along. Wix Wife Fine 89, 2-Dub in the house saying, good morning, Pipers. Good morning to you too. JR's in here giving everybody the GMs. I appreciate you, brother. Username. He thinks that my circle is boring, and his AVAV is doing well. But yeah, let's look at boring circle. Shout out to username in the chat. I see you, bro. Because you know Danera in here with us right now, giving all the good mornings. Ninja Glock is in here. Kyle Fields, and yeah, a whole lot more, guys. I appreciate all of you being here this morning. Let's go ahead, OC, and let's jump over to the news. Let's break all that down, and then from there we will cut over, take a look at that Bitcoin chart. Actually, what's going on Bitcoin right now? Let me check, double check. You know what? Let's kick over to you and let's talk about what you're seeing on Bitcoin first, and then we'll go into the news, because I want to establish the baseline of what's going on with Bitcoin this morning. Shout out to Daniel Barnes. I see you, bro, and CJ Taylor, my brother, in the chat there. So appreciate you guys joining us. OC, let's get that Bitcoin chart up. Show us on the chart where Bitcoin made you money. Okay. All right, let's go.
Absolutely. I'll be probably taking it over. Bitcoin is pumping, throwing it back to you. No, just kidding. Of course, we left it out at a plan A right here and then breakout of a possible flag. Absolutely. I identified myself with that. Nonetheless, we also were figuring out a couple of stuff, right? Remember my proprietary house roof or rooftop in here analysis, we usually try to create kind of like a triangular pattern. We have a fake out, and when we break back inside a triangle or any pattern whatsoever, we usually estimate that we could go at the top of that pattern. Another pattern that we broke and we are pushing into, it is this huge megaphone. In fact, let me just give you guys a little bit of hopium. Let me see if I can unlock this and make it much larger. I would say something like that. And then, of course, look at it again. And, well, then Piper yesterday was looking at a possible flag breakout. But I consider it to have more, a little bit more estimate like this triangle. So if we broke on that triangle, that will put us somewhere between 1010, 1013. Nonetheless, while looking at our support or resistance area, not only support and resistance, but most importantly, order block, we can see that we have an order block right at 109, 10110. That usually means that the order block, well, the order blocks are magnetic, and that usually means that the price of Bitcoin is going to get magnetized up to that zone. As you can see, we're also creating another area of, or another blocking here, another magnetized zone right at 101. That's why we also had this circle in here, because we have a base. But plan A is working out like a charm. So let's wait for that area to start becoming a reality. So once we start hitting 109, 150, I think we can start looking for possible reversals, especially right here, pinpointing areas at 109, 220, 38. I think we could start looking for possible retracements. Nonetheless, we need to see consolidation scores start increasing before we think into a reversal, because if not, we could be just migrating out the volume out of the loud order block. Because look at that, 47 to 53, the ratio is not that different. Usually they balance out. This usually means that despite we're very bearish, we're also very bullish, and depending on how those orders are mixed inside this order block, we can either hover, which is the most possible scenario, and that's why also you can see that hovering area since yesterday. Or if, depending on how the concentration is at, let's just say that the bullish are right below, we might be able to break through that bearish resistance, because the bears might start migrating either up or down as the bulls are propelling the price of Bitcoin. So what I'm trying to say here, this is very close to each other, bulls and bears. So whoever start taking the lead at the beginning, it's gonna end up following with the reaction. So if we see a big reaction, most likely we are gonna reject back. If we see a push through, most likely the bears are gonna chicken out and they're gonna migrate up and down. So we are gonna break through. So just be careful with this order block, since it is very, very close. The bulls and bears are very close to each other, and one of those are going to chicken out. So turn it back to you, Piper.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and jump into the news. Let's take a look at all of that data and break all this down and talk about what's going on. Then we'll get back into some higher time frame, talk about why I'm talking about a new all-time high Bitcoin and where I think that target could be. I'm looking about 118, just so you know. So I'll show you why on that in just a second. But let's go ahead and jump over here. Let's talk about the news today, guys. Looking at the metrics right now, crypto market cap sitting at $3.313 trillion. Trend on that's about 3.972 trillion. So currently undervalued about 16.57%. Looking at Bitcoin's risk levels, moved up out of that 0.52 range to the 0.54, still sitting at a 2x DCA, so 2-time DCA level there. And then looking at Bitcoin dominance without stablecoins, still holding just under that 70% line, 69.59%, with stables at 64.41. Bitcoin dominance doing an absolute tear off today. So let's talk about liquidations in the past 24 hours. Nothing significant. The past 24 hours, 79,619 traders were liquidated. Total liquidations coming in at $203.6 million. Largest single liquidation order happening on Binance. It was Bitcoin for about 2.65 million. So let's go over here and take a look at the crypto bubbles on the daily. We're mostly green. Hourly, lots of green. APT about the only one that I see down there. Bitcoin currently is at 108, 161 and continuing to rip the roof off the sucker, man. Look at it. Positive 2.9% growth to the upside in the hourly. It's up 0.8%. Ethereum up 0.6%. And this is why Bitcoin dominance is absolutely dominating right now, because we're seeing a lot bigger moves out of Bitcoin. So XRP at $2.22, up 2% there. BNB up 1.2, Solana's up 2.2, Doge is up 2.4%. Cardano is flat on the daily. It has made a little return, which would have made it red on the daily, except for the last hour, sitting at 58 cents. Poor Cardano. for Cardano. SWI is up 1.9%, actually 1.8 now. It's at $2.83. Bitcoin Cash making moves again, OC. It's up 4.2% to the upside there. And then lots of red here on the 18, 17, 16, and 15 spots. That's Leo Token, Stellar Lumens, Avalanche, and Toncoin. Shiba Inu is up slightly, just under 1% on the number 19 there, sitting at 0.0000000001173. There you go. Hedera up 1.7% at 15.4 cents. Litecoin out of that top 20, man, out of that top 20. Pi Network, why are you such garbage? Anyway, just my humble opinion. And then APT down on the hourly, up 8.7% though on a daily, still sitting at number 33. I want to talk about that because it was up there on that chart. All right, let's go talk about the fear and greed. According to Rect Capital, guys, according to Rect Capital, for Bitcoin dominance progress, we are at 92% left of the bull cycle. That's it. 92% left of the bull cycle is what we've done so far. We got 8% more to go. So we're 92% of the way through, according to Rect Capital. I don't make the rules. I just tell you the news. That's all I do. Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index is at 66 right now, sitting in greed. This was when the price was at 106. Let's see. Did they put out a new one yet? That was 5 hours ago. Let's see if there's a fresh one. Oh, there is. It's at 66 still at 107. So might be seeing some movement to the upside on that greed index there as this price continues to climb. Looking at the TradFi market right now on the market open, guys, Dow Jones just down slightly, 0.07%. S&P about flat, really, 0.13%. NASDAQ up 0.4%. Now, I will point out that the S&P and OC, if you can go ahead and get that chart ready, the S&P chart, SPX, I want to talk about the all-time high on that because this week we did talk about that Morgan Stanley was traders were talking about a new all-time high. It was time to get bullish again, was coming for the S&P. That was the sentiment that along with the geopolitical calm down and things that were going on in the macro side, I said, look, markets are now seeing that there might be a rate cut in July. I doubt it still, but it's possible. And then on top of that, they're also seeing the geopolitical calm down, ceasefire might actually be a thing, so on and so forth. We could see if the S&P hits a new all-time high, easily see Bitcoin go up, break some liquidity grabs at the 110, 111 level, and possibly even go higher. So right now, we are continuing to see that. Russell 2K is down about 0.45. Small caps getting wrecked today, and the VIX very chill, very, very chill today. Of course, we do have Trump at NATO speaking right now. Keep that in mind. Trump is talking to NATO. And then also Jerome Powell is testifying right now in front of Congress. So some comments that came out of him were about what he could see in July with the rate cuts if certain things are met. So a lot of sit and wait right now. Hold your breath as the markets are pumping, taking advantage of it. So look at the European markets overnight, all in the red for Europe. Asia had some green night. Nikkei, Nifty 50 up there, HSI, the Shanghai, and the ASX 200 all doing pretty decent. The bonds, we had higher 30-year mortgage come in today, guys. So if you do not know anything about that, what that is saying there is that the 10-year yield is what the baseline is for a mortgage rate. Okay, it has nothing to do with the Fed rate, zero. And this going up higher has increased a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, making homes a little bit more expensive to buy. So if you're looking to buy a home, you're probably not getting any closer to those good rates.
Emotional damage.
It's causing some emotional damage, that's for sure, especially when you're trying to sell a house in El Paso. I know a guy. Guys, looking here at oil, we are seeing that oil is doing a little bit of a move back up today, but still below that 65%, above 60, below 65. Not a bad spot for oil price per barrel to be at. Brent also in the green, Nat gas and ARB BOB gas both in the downside. Gold is seeing a little bit of a pullback, but still holding above that $3,300 level, down about 3/100%. Silver, copper, platinum, all to the upside today, and palladium doing a little bit of a pullback. I will point out silver holding that $35 level quite well. So let's look at this economic calendar today, guys. We talked about that NBA 30-year mortgage rate was at 6.84%. Now it's 6.88%, just under 7% there. And like I said, trying to buy a home, you might want to wait. Fed Chair Powell in testimony right now. He's there speaking as we do this live stream. He's in Congress, telling them what he's getting ran through the gambit. That's for sure. They want to know why he's not cutting rates. So, looking at tomorrow, guys, we're gonna have durable goods orders coming in. Right now was negative 6.3. They think this is going to be quite high. This could be another catalyst to move the markets to the upside. And then GDP growth final version, his final form, is expected to be negative, kind of going to erase what's coming in there. But again, if this comes in higher and it's not negative 0.2, like if it comes in flat and we're not negative, this could be another move to the upside, or it could just be that this is already cooked into the markets. They've already reacted to the first one, the second one. This is the final one, the third release. And so the fact that it's already cooked into the markets, just nothing happens with it. So, and then Friday, guys, we're going to get core PCE. Again, this is expected to be flat, but personal income expected to drop. Personal spending expected to drop. Could be further sign of economic slowdown. So looking here at what the CME group is showing for July, because I got an article about this that we're going to talk about here in a bit. Looking at 30 July, that's the next FOMC meeting, 79.3% chance of no change. We're now at a 20% chance of a rate cut coming in July. Where did this come from? Has to do with Jerome Powell and some other Fed members and what they're actually saying right now. If we go and I want to find this article, where is that? Bitcoin liquidity grab next. No, it is going to be this one right there. Crypto rally or crash. Powell just made July the markets make or break, guys. And this is why I said watch July and watch what's happening with this data coming out on the macro side. This is going to be what could really just send us to a big rally on Bitcoin. Fed Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's appearance on Capitol Hill Tuesday left risk asset traders with a single binary question. Does the most interest-sensitive summer in years end with a crypto breakout or a macro-driven crash? In a prepared statement, Powell stressed that inflation has eased significantly from its highs in mid-2022, but remains somewhat elevated, adding that the Federal Open Market Committee is well positioned to wait to learn more about the likely course of the economy before considering any adjustments to our policy stance. So July may be the thing that is sealing crypto's fate. For crypto markets already oscillating on every nuance of policy guidance, the message was clear. The next 4 weeks, anchored by the 12 July CPI release and the 19 July payroll reports, will decide whether July's FOMC delivers relief or reality check. Powell said we could expect to see meaningful tariff inflation effects June, July, and August. If we don't see that, that would lead to cutting earlier. Powell's caution sits atop a rare public split inside the board itself. Governors Michelle Bowman and Christopher Waller, both Trump appointees, have openly argued that tariff-related price spikes are likely to be a one-time shift and therefore should not stand in the way of an early rate cut, I should say, potentially as soon as 30 July meetings. 7 other colleagues disagree, laying out projections that keep policy unchanged through December. So right now, we got 7 and then 2, and then Jerome Powell kind of just sitting there. So what we're seeing is in line with that chart where we saw 30%, 20%, I mean, is 70% looking, 80% looking at no change. It's almost in line with the percentages of the actual Fed. So markets reacted by flattening the front end of the curve. 2-year Treasury yields fell to 3.8%, while the benchmark 10-year dipped to 4.285, both lows not seen since early May. After the testimony, a surprise ceasefire in the Middle East, another catalyst again, geopolitical, yet expectations for July remain finely balanced. CME Fed Watch shows that a 25 basis point cut is about 19%, 20% now. And then crypto traded the cross currents rather than the headline. Bitcoin, which had cratered to $99,000 on Monday, reclaimed 106, now 108 by Wednesday morning, mirroring that rebound. So if you guys are watching these charts and you're watching, the TA, and you're watching to see what's going on with your, Bitcoin, is it going to do this? Is it going to do that, guys? Look no further than some macroeconomic news. That is really going to be the catalyst for July. If we are going to see a higher level of price action and possibly a breakout to a new all-time high. Let me jump over here to the chart. We are getting a little bit of a pullback here, coming down, guys. Remember, this is the other thing that we talked about on the if this, then that, the two sides of the coin, right? We are seeing that that the quantum reactor on chart primes indicators here is red. And I have showed you historically that once this thing goes red, we can come back up and touch it and get a rejection, right? We can even get breaks above it. I showed you this and how much this plays out once it flips red, because here, this is saying no confirmation. It's gray. See that? It goes red here. We get little pump ups and then it goes down further, right? And I did point that out. We are seeing that play out right now after hitting as high as 108,200, but we're not losing this value area high here. So something to watch. This could be a resistance rejection point for us, but we are starting to show a little bit of weakness on the oscillator pro. But let's take a look at the daily and let's talk about this, because what I'm seeing on the daily here is an oscillator MACD signal line getting ready to cross. That's a bullish sign. Money flow is about to cross up above the zero line. That would be a growth indication, right? We did get the True 7 firing off here. The power bar and the daily all fired, and now we're moving up at a very steep rate. And honestly, the RSI prime looking pretty strong on the daily. Now, my one concern here is that we did lose a trend line. You see this rising trend line right here that chart prime auto printed on my chart? We did break below it. We broke down, came down to the dynamic reactor, quantum reactor. This could be the old OC retest taking place there, but I do think that if the ceasefire continues over in the Middle East, Iran and Israel, and we start to see a continuation of the mindset of, hey, we could see a July rate cut, we could see some quantitative easing from the Fed, then we could be lining up pretty strong for Bitcoin to make that push up past the 110, do the liquidity sweep, possibly wicking to a new all-time high before pulling back down. But that OC retest there that we're watching, what's your thoughts on this, man? Do you think that we're going to see this OC retest on this trend line here that I showed, or is this the OC retest setup right here? That's the question, bro. What do you think?
Well, we need to wait for it to happen, right? But I believe that there's a strong chance to have it. Hopefully, we do. In that case, we could be propelling up to a new highs, and that's pretty exciting. I mean, just like you mentioned, I think you break it down perfectly. Depends on geopolitical events. But so far, everything is pointing at everything going better, right? And at least a little bit more into the peaceful route of events, right? Nothing that major. But yeah, I believe and I really hope that is the case.
I do too. I think it's poised for it, guys. I wouldn't say it's built in, but I would definitely say that the road is built for it to make that trip. So, matter of fact, if we jump over here and let's talk about this article, Bitcoin price analysis now sees up to $111,000 liquidity grab, guys. It's exactly what we were talking about on the TA side. Bitcoin exchange order books reveal a liquidity showdown in waiting as Bitcoin price consolidates in a narrow range. That Bitcoin order level is coming in at about $111,000. And if we take a look over here, 110,850, that highest level sitting right there at about $111,000. So something to definitely be watching there on the charts and on that price action level. I think at 111 might be a decent spot for a quick short action play. But you know how Bitcoin is. If it goes into that zone and they decide, hey, we're going to hit that new all-time high and then get a lot of shorts there for liquidity and then use that to continue up, Bitcoin tends to play. You got a plan. Put it in on a trade against Bitcoin. There you go. That will we'll see how it plays out for you. OC, what do you got for us, man, on your charts? Let's go ahead and kick it over to you, and let's talk about what you're seeing on the charts. We talked about the S&P possibly hitting a new all-time high. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that, see what your TA is telling you, and then let's check out some altcoins.
Absolutely. So this is where we left out, right? If you guys remember, this was a long time ago as we were trying to break out of here. Not about the breakout, it's about the retest, so breakout, retest, and then off we go. And at this point, we have previous all-time highs. So the idea is to get it on the all-time highs, have a rejection, and then the rejection coming back up. So far, we have done exactly that. The only retracement that I want to talk about in here is that it's not happening on the dynamic reactor. Remember that we were expecting to retrace fully to the dynamic reactor, but there are a couple of things that happened throughout that time, and that's why it's important to keep our analysis up to date. At this point, the dynamic reactor is not as flat as before, so we need to fix that. And the next thing is going to be our order blocks. Look at how those order blocks start building up below the price action, and despite they are magnetic, as they create, they become steps on the ladder to keep building to the upside, right? So far, let's just figure out how long till, or how long till all time high. So that is around 0.68%, less than 1% away from all-time high. So at this space, I think we are set for an all-time high. And well, I'll be waiting for the next step on the chain, the chain of events to maybe have a retracement, and that is for the order blocks magnetic action. Might not be as steep as I initially thought so, but absolutely, I believe that we could be having a breakout, maybe hitting 6,290, and then a rejection back to where we are right now at 6,100, 6,200 with this loud order block. So far, doing great, doing fantastic. We're basically already hitting all-time highs. And it's just a matter of time before we reach them. And I think we will.
Outstanding. I'm just checking out the chat here, man. XYZOZYX. Mia King Bear nowhere to be found. MIA. Oh, he's saying MIA. Missing in action. No hair, no crown, but sometimes with the cap. Last seen carrying around a big jar of honey and around El Paso. May also have been a pot of gold. What's up, man? No, I'm in Dallas now. I'm in Rockwall, Texas now. I moved. I'm closer to the water. I like to cruise. So now I went out yesterday. If you guys saw the X post, I was out on the lake yesterday. I had my orientation at the boat club, and so we took a boat out yesterday and went cruising around the lake. It was pretty nice. Nice breeze and about 93 degrees. Water was nice and warm. So yeah, I moved out of El Paso. I said I forget about all those sandstorms. I did enough of those in the Middle East, almost 5 years in the Middle East. So no more sandstorms. Daniel Barnes knows what I'm talking about, don't you, Daniel? Who else we got in here? R.S. Miller, he said train cars are lining up on the extra tracks. He's talking about, like the actual locomotive trains for goods shipments. This means that there isn't any high demand for goods right now. That means the economy has started to slow. I think that is what's happening too. So what kind of cruising? I like party cruise. I like gambling cruises, casino cruises, man. I got 3 cruises coming up this year. Actually, between now and January, so the second half of the year. We got one in September, October, going down to the Mexican Riviera. Going to be hitting La Paz and Mazatlan and Cabo San Lucas. And what is the other one? Cabo San Lucas and Puerto Vallarta. And then December, I'm going on a river cruise up through the rivers in Europe to hit all the Christmas markets up Christmas time. That's a 14-day total cruise time. And then January, I've got a 14-day cruise back down in the Caribbean on the Norwegian Viva. So staying in the Haven for that one. That's going to be pretty interesting. I'm going to get my cup of all white gummy bears, because you can tell the butler whatever you want. I'm going to do it. I have a 24-hour butler. I'm using them. But yeah, we'll be stopping into Cozumel. Hopefully OC and I can meet up during that little window of time, but we'll see. So yeah, cruising. I like to cruise. Don't break a hip. Wick said, "Don't break a hip, bro. My hips are already broken." All right, OC. So the S&P definitely looking decently toppy there. What about the alts, man? We had some of the alts pull back. We talked earlier this week about the all-time high, how far some of these alts in the top 50 were from their all-time highs, and some of them were closer to their crypto winter lows of 2022 than they were to all-time high. I'd like to know how they looking with this Bitcoin pump. We're seeing that dominance shift over, but I'd like to know your opinion on those. So let's go ahead and get some of those up on your chart, and we'll come over to those. Big shout out to DDT. Big shout out to Buck Wick in the house with us with 2 dubs. So drop the 2 dubs in the chat, guys. You can't miss it. Looks like a Wonder Woman. There you go. OC, what do you got for us on the alts, man?
All right, so let's start with hashtag F Ethereum. If you don't know, if you know, you know, or if you don't know, it's about Fidelity.
You can't
Ethereum.
handle the truth.
Emotional
damage.
Love it. So let's take a look at what's going on in here, because we have a good trend line, I would say, in here. Like from the very top, going through 1, 2 hits, 1 going through 4, and then 5, I would say, the hits so far. So what are we not hitting? Well, then this talks about some weakness in altcoins, right? I mean, we already know that because we already have gone through the dominance. It is pushing bullish on Bitcoin, and that money has to come from somewhere else, and that somewhere else is not gold, it's not Forex, and it's not anywhere else. It is the same crypto space. So it seems like we're losing some confidence on altcoins, and that is being put into Bitcoin, and I think that talks about the possible next blow up. Nonetheless, if you guys have not noticed, we updated our news channel on the Piper Academy, and one of those channels from Cointelegraph, it is a symmetrical triangle trying to break on XRP. We'll talk about that in a second, but let's see what's going on since we're having a retracement. I think this is going to be a case of an inverted head and shoulders, for then maybe try to break through and then have a next rejection in here as Bitcoin gets its all new time highs and then rejects. I don't think that we're gonna break out of this channel just yet, at least not on Ethereum. And for that to happen, we need a big body candle that might take its time to play it out. So let's bring out the indicators to reveal what's going on behind the scenes. And here it goes. I mean, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. We are below the dynamic reactor. And despite the dynamic reactor actually looked very wimpy, not gonna lie, right? Like very thin and not muscle-like at all. I mean, still did its job, and look at that, right to the dynamic reactor and rejection. So we are below dynamic reactor. That means bearish. We are red in color candle. That means bearish. And of course, let me bring out my oscillators in here. We are turning back around in here, and this actually played out faster of what I was expecting, as always. And now we are turning around for then maybe hit on that zero line. That hit on the zero line might be creating the next shoulder, right? Remember what we're talking about, a possible inverted head and shoulder, and that's where we could be start looking for the next opportunity. So far on support and resistances, we are fighting between the support at 2,380, 2,400, and the dynamic reactor and equilibrium zone. Do expect, or I am expecting, that we hit this lows. In fact, let me move my there we go, my alert slightly above my dotted line, and that's what I'm going to be trying to maybe re-enter for a bullish movement. I know we have a bearish signal. So far, we are creating lower highs and, of course, one lower low. So until we break the 2,600, we're not out of the blue. That is for Ethereum. Let's go straight to XRP, because XRP, let me see if I do have them to my left. There's too many of those. Let me see if I can see them. XRP having a triangle. And come on, where are you? Where are you? The news. Oh man, I think sometimes I got a little bit overwhelmed. Well, let's just check out the charts. I mean, I think that would be much easier. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Let me just bring it up. This is one of the news that we published on our Discord. Here it is. So XRP rebound in play. Rebound. I don't know what they're talking about, but this looks as they draw it. As they draw it, they draw a flat bottom triangle. Usually those triangles breaks to the downside. Nonetheless, I say bouncing off key demand zones. So they're talking about that we're bouncing off this area to the upside in descending triangle. Supported by Ichimoku clouds, and then easy eyes on XRP. XRP is looking pretty good, to be honest. And why is that? Because out of all the altcoins, this is one of the few that didn't actually create a huge dump, right? And as we speak, we are back even above, just like Bitcoin. We are above of from where the dump started. This was, there we go, Thursday's 19 right here. Oh, too many squiggly lines. That's fine. In what happens, we have the dump and pump, and look at that, we are back at previous dumping areas, right? So we didn't just recuperate everything that we lost, but we are pushing higher. And as you can see, I'm thinking that we could get at the top of the previous range that we are measuring. Let me look those lines so I can clean this up a little bit for you guys. There we go. And let's clean this up. Perfect. I still think that because we have this fake out, remember, as I always tell you, when we have a fake out on any pattern and then we break back inside the pattern, the odds for hitting the opposite side of that pattern, they increase dramatically. So that's why I have my alert at 2,316. Am I going to be jumping in for a long here? Not quite there yet, although we have the resolution of our goose head. I think we could maybe go into the 15 minutes and start predicting the blowout. This is not going to be a trade live, just so you know, because I don't think that we're there yet so far. And what I will need to see is a retracement to the zero line and back at some support, and then off we go. So there's your setup for today. And finally, I want to take a look at BNB because it's tied to a exchange. Let me clear this up. And remember, we created an intention trading here. It played out as we were expecting, taking 50% out, and then it dumped right at Friday. We are back at previous dumping areas, right? So not dumping areas, well, before the dump areas, right? The thing in here is this is not looking like XRP. It has the same exact pattern, but the price action is not high enough. So can we still make it? Not sure, but my eyes on in here because I'm looking for that flip of the ribbon. If that flip of the ribbon happens now, this is going to be our next entry around 640 and 40. So let me create our first entry of the day in here. Our stop loss is going to be below previous meaningful lows, which is very tight. So I'm going to be giving it to the next meaningful lows in here. Let me see if we have any supports and resistance. Yes, we do. Let's aim for the next support in here. And then this is going to be a 1 quarter entry because this is extremely dangerous zone, and we are front running the oscillator. Eventually, this is going to play it out, but only and only if we bounce, that's our green light to go, right? So do not enter before you have your confirmation because we could have a movement to the downside all the way to 628, in which case that will be my next entry. So far, that's what I got on a couple of altcoins, Piper. Let me throw it back to you.
Yeah, I want to jump over here because I'm watching some things on X right now. First of all, Trader Geo, shout out to him. He said this is going to be the bull soon. He thinks that they're getting ready to get wrecked and burnt up. So keep that in mind. Trader Geo, awesome, and his current sentiment as of 22 minutes ago. Also want to take a look here at this video that just came in. This is about the rocket attack, guys, that happened in in Iran that the U.S. did. Evidently, the response to that Iran did, shooting the missiles at Dirty Deeds base, they confirmed that with Trump, according to Trump. And this is what he said at NATO. They said, can we shoot rockets at you at one? And he said, yeah, it's fine. So listen here. Why is this not playing audio for you? There we go. Let's turn that on. I got it.
Very nice. They gave us warning. They said, we're going to shoot him. Is 1 o'clock okay? They said, it's fine. And everybody was emptied off the bed.
It's fine. It's fine. So yeah, meet Kevin posting that. That's an actual clip from NATO a little while ago. Can we shoot rockets at you at one? Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. So who knows, man? Who knows what's going on? Everyone talked about how much manipulation was taking place with this. There you go. And that's why OC and I were both talking about that. Look, don't let global conflict like this shake you out. If you look historically, Ukraine, the Israel attack, and then you guys remember that whole thing went on, nuclear war, 2 nuclear powers. I think it happened like, a couple months ago. Might have heard about it. Pakistan, India. Remember that? Yeah, out of the news, gone, completely forgot about. So a lot of this stuff quickly turns to nothing. So I want to talk about this article here. This is hash rate. We've been talking about the hash rate here a little bit over the past couple of weeks. Bitcoin hash rate down approximately 15% since June 15th. It's the steepest drop in Bitcoin hash rate in 3 years. I have to go back and count. That was summer 2022, right when we started to hit the bottom of the market, interestingly enough. In what looks to be the most dramatic decline in 3 years, Bitcoin's hash rate dropped between June 15th and Tuesday about 15%. A lot of people are saying that this has to do with Iran. This article is actually going to challenge that statement, and let's take a look and see what they're saying here. The sharp drop has fueled speculation about possible geopolitical environmental causes. While the reason behind the sudden downturn is not yet confirmed, many of the cryptocurrency community are pointing to Iran as the cause. So hash rate dropped right after Israel's initial strike on Iran. It's not talked about often, according to Mars Quaking, but Iran has been mining for years now, over 5 years. It's likely that Israel hit part of Iran's power grid and disrupted some of their mining operations. Can't say whether disrupting their mining was part of their plan or simply a secondary effect of this of the strike, but I think that it is likely that this is what has caused the drop rate. This is presumed, right? But if you go down here a little bit further, this article talks about this connection is weak. Only a little over 3% of the total hash rate decrease coincided precisely with recent events in Iran. Furthermore, the hash rate fell over 6.25% from June 15th until Thursday, before Iran was bombed by the U.S. So we've been talking about this for a couple of weeks, long before any of this happened. So, them coming out and saying it has to be Iran, guys, doesn't hold much water. If you jump over here and look at the charts, take a look at the hash rate over here. Nope, wrong chart. Let's go there. There we go. Look at the hash rate ribbon. You can see here that we started a decline here up really July 9th, and it's just been dropping harshly since then. We did have another drop between May 26th to June 2nd also. So looking at the hash rate ribbon, the Capriola hash ribbon, we've seen a decline in the hash rate long before any of that stuff. It's just, one of those things that people try to tag and make it connected to something without any further analysis other than, oh, they got mining and that's why it's down that much. No, there's some minor sell-off going on. We even talked about an article earlier in the week that was saying that the miners have sold off pretty much all they can sell, and they're not making much in fees. So that tends to make them, if price gets too tight for them, well, they'll start shutting down some of their mining equipment, or if prices are going up too high on oil, again, oil fears, right? That has to do a lot with the energy cost in mining. So there's a whole lot more factors than just some bombs dropped over there. And, so do your due diligence, look for that bias when you are reading some of these articles, and read completely through. Take a look and, see what the hash rate ribbon looks like before those dates. So Iran be mining the biddy in those plants, DDT says. Shout out to Baba Yaz in the house. I see you. He said, I made it. I'm glad to see you here, man. I miss you, Baba Yaz. Little Fish is in here with us. Meet Kevin plus 1 million. Yeah, Alexander G and I, we both like Meet Kevin a lot. He's got some good stuff. So, and Iran tried to take out my old tent. Dirty Deed for Koshino Dinero said they tried to take out his old tent. They did. They said, that's for Koshino Dinero's house right there. Let's shoot a rocket at that too. Who else we got in here in the chat? I want to do a little catch up here. Let's go to the duo chat. There we go. Bingo Bango. By the way, we're redirecting over to Trade Intuition and Keith at Crypto Coin Mindset today. So that's where we'll be heading here in about 14 minutes. Daniel Barnes said, Daniel, that is the way. DCA is the way. And right now I'm just focusing on Bitcoin because them alts are not holding up too well in the realm of the Bitcoin dominance. So JR, Steve Hickey, I appreciate you, man, being here. He's at Piper Academy. Hey, guys, you guys kick butt. We're here to chew bubble gum and kick butt, and we're all out of bubble gum. Oh, all right, OC, what do you got for us, man? Let's kick it back over to you. Let's look at gold. Okay, because gold's really that good indicator of how risk adverse is the market, and if they're looking to go more risky or less risky. So let's take a look at gold. We are seeing a little bit of a pullback on that. I'll give you a second to pull that chart up, and let's go. I love gold.
A few
God,
moments later,
oh my God.
it was at this moment he knew.
Yes.
He fucked
He
up.
knew. Oh man, I'm just trying to not be coughing onto the microphone. That's why I keep muting myself. Sorry about that. But working on that, promise. I have my fancy medicine next to me. So other than that, let's take a look at gold. I switched from one analysis to a cleaner one because this is actually playing out. And yesterday I was speaking with MJ, with my ex-fiance, now wife. She's right next to me. She's just giving me the look. And she was telling me, hey, how is gold doing? Because remember, guys, we have gold and she's in charge of the gold investments. So the point is that we hit the previous analysis on the support line and we bounced from it. That was the analysis. What happens then? We lose our zero line in here and we were rejecting out of the zero line also. So more downtrend looks to be coming into gold. This most likely it is because of the good news that so far right now the U.S. has entered into the conflict, that to say, hey, I'm the bully around here. Nobody's gonna be stepping on top of me. So if any of you guys stop fighting against each other about this cookie, well then I'm gonna take it for myself, right? So and then everybody goes like quiet, right? No more fights. Sort of. So that usually means a little bit more of peace, talks at least, and that is taking profits out of a risk angle, right? So far, breaking through. Let's take a look at our previous analysis and be aware this is going to have big spaghetti vibes in here. So plan number B was creating a triangle, all right here. Plan number B did not play it out. Remember, we're talking about morphology, right? Plan B, it's gone perfect. What did plan A happen? Perfect, going to our support zone and bouncing from that support zone. And finally, what happens here? Breakout, retest, off we go. So we are basically, right, let me control C this, perfect. We are on that breakout, right? Retest on the dynamic reactor, and then off you go. So far, plan A has played out perfectly. What's going on? What is the future for gold? So that depends on macro structures, but let's take a look at our support and resistances. We are in a big support area. Are we going to hold? So far, I don't think so. Yes, I know we are on pump, but that pump comes all the way back from here. So having a retracement like that wouldn't mean that we're going to be changing that pump. What we could actually be looking into, it is the volatility factor, the prime score, and the consolidation score. So volatility is low volatility, so we could be expecting more ranging so far, as long as we are trying to break through the zero line. So be aware, because this one could become a flat pause of bearish continuation. and that is plan A so far. Bearish continuation, and our best area of entry, we have actually hit it. Right now, we are on 3,312. Again, not because the analysis aims to go low, that doesn't make this a bad area of entry. Why is it a good area of entry? Because we have multiple confluence, all right? If, for example, instead of ranging, we make a bigger drop in here, which is a sweep of the lows, and then we have a V-shaped recovery, most likely we're going to break through and go up. So here is the pattern that we're looking to understand if we're continuing down or bouncing back up. Bottoming patterns that we're looking for: sweep of the lows, swing failure pattern, breaking through trend line. It's not about the breakout, it's about your retest, creating a higher low, and off we go. Right? Another one would be double bottom like that, breaking the trend line. Let me push it here, breaking that trend line, going for the retest, creating a higher low, and off you go. This is your entry, or this is your entry. A point, it's much safer for an entry. Not bottoming patterns, but continuation patterns. The bearish scenario would be just ranging and then having a fake out to the upside, and in this case, just hitting the trend line and not piercing through. Well, then as we break back below, we are going to be hitting the 3,262. And you can also see that I have an alert at 3,200, and that is because of this interest area that we have. So let's just recapitulate. What happens here? We need to be aware of this pattern. This could be a continuation to the downside or a bounce pattern. So be aware of that. I already have mentioned that. If we start seeing continuation pattern to the downside, prepare for a short, and then prepare for your long somewhere around 3,265, and finally at 3,203. And then if we create a sweep of the lows, a swing failure pattern, a double bottom, a triple bottom, and then break out of the trend line in a higher low, that is our entry for a continuation upwards. I think this is plan B, and this is plan A. All right, so I believe that plan A is going to play out, especially because the tensions are building up, and well, at this point everything is calmed, but the market should be resolving once again. Trying it back to you, Piper.
Yeah, I think the thing that you're going to need to watch on that one, OC, is going to be Thursday. And we've talked about that. That's the GDP. I think that's going to be the next. That's going to be the next catalyst that could give gold a pump. Let's go over and talk about that. CNBC Pro has an article here on gold steadying with the market eyeing U.S. economic data. So gold steadied on Wednesday, as you just showed there in the chart. Spot gold was a little changed, about $3,300. I think it's like $3,312 right now. On Tuesday, prices hit their lowest level in over 2 weeks as gold, U.S. gold futures gained 0.2%, hitting about 33.41 for the futures side. De-escalation of the tension in the Middle East and less need for safe haven assets was a reason for gold to give up those earlier gains. Still, uncertainty about the future of Iran's nuclear program could keep investors preferring to hold some gold allocations, which means some support there for buy levels. They're not just going to sell it all off because of that uncertainty remaining in the environment. So, but the big one is going to be gold is seen as a safe haven during turmoil and tends to perform well in low interest rate environments. The market's focus is now on the first quarter U.S. GDP that's coming out on Thursday, which will offer insight into the pace of economic growth. On Friday, attention turns to that PCE. So those are going to be two things coming up tomorrow and Friday that are going to impact the price of gold. So if it's at support level right now and there's still some uncertainty going on, and we have the possibility of these two things coming in and confirming that, hey, yeah, we do have a slowdown going on, gold, I think we'll see another rally from that current level that it's at. So your plan A may be spot on, OC, spot on. So let's talk about Circle real fast, and then we'll head out of here. We're going to head over to Crypto Coin Mindset Show. But gold, Circle currently right now is at a key level. Let's jump over to this chart right here. Let's talk about Circle here, guys. This is the USDC maker. We've been talking about this stock for months. It just went live last week. We hit a high up here and got this level. So yesterday we talked about this delta median of the predictive ranges that was coming in at about $298. We got a perfect rejection off of that. And I said, watch for us to come back down, and we lost this lower level. I said, watch this point of control. This is coming in at about 244. I said, and ultimately our value area low coming in at about 215, but I think that 225 would hold. Look at the price action around that 225 level. It was very, very strong, was not strong enough at the end of the day though. And now we are trying to break our predictive range, OC. You know what that means? That means we could see a whole new level of predictive ranges start to print off here, just like this. And then that will be a whole new range of predictive ranges with our golden pocket of that range. But this area here sitting all the way down in here. So we could see this level get lost. As of right now, I have taken half profit on my Circle so that I can have that money in case it goes down further, because I'm up a lot, like a whole lot on Circle. So just so for clarity and transparency, I will always be transparent with you guys. I have taken half profit when we lost and rejected here on the lower support band of these predictive ranges. If we lose this level here, I'm not going to sell more. I'm going to actually buy down here somewhere in this range of about 170, 165, and I'll show you why I'm watching that level. Guys, right now we're at a golden pocket. On a retracement, this is being pulled from the bottom here to the top. This is our golden pocket, and you can see we wicked perfectly on it. I'm not seeing a slowdown there, though, here on money flow. I'm seeing a saddle shape building here on the histogram. Even though we're way down low on the RSI prime, this is still in range with where it's hit previously. We can go much lower on RSI prime after that hot run up. I am not seeing a power bar showing us any weakness here. I'm not showing anything on the True 7 bottoming out. The signal line still getting wider there. I think this could go a bit lower. And plus, if we come over here and we look at the MVP oscillator, we're not getting any green bars printing here saying, hey, the bottom is in. So watching this on the hourly right now, I do think that I'm going to be watching for this 176 to 161. That level at the 161 will be your 887. It's coming in on this previous support. That will be where I will deploy the half profit that I took up here. So at 230. I did say I was going to buy more at 225, but when I kept watching it, we weren't seeing any signs of strength here. We did get the uptrend signal, but things were still coming down on money flow. So at this time, half profit taken on Circle. I'm going to be watching those levels again. That is 176 to 161 there on Circle. Maintaining the other half. If it continues to go up, I'm still way up, and I'll just ride that and feed it as it goes up. DCA on the upside also, so I don't care. That's all right. That's all right. Alexandra G said, dump it. She needs to get some. So there you go. Oh, see, that is about all we have time for today, bro. I appreciate you being here today. Shout out to all the alumni. You guys are awesome, and you're why we keep coming here every day and doing what we do. Gives me something to do, and I'm glad you guys enjoy it and join us here every morning, Monday through Friday. Don't forget to tune in today to OC Trades Live. He's going to be in there giving some more great education. If you guys aren't catching that stuff, there is a ton of information that he's putting out on that every single day. All those chapters build up to create successful trading mentality. So you guys go check that out. And then Markets After Dark going on tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Lunar Beaches Crypto. And then tomorrow morning, BC Port Corp will be back with Good Morning Crypto. We'll be back at 10 a.m. bringing you guys the news, the charts, the markets, the headlines, the macro, everything you need to have knowledge. Shove it all in that dome because knowledge is profit. And that's our goal here. Find a way to make profit. So guys, till then, trade safe. We're about to head over and hit up Crypto Coin Mindset. Keith and Trade Intuition are going to be over there, and we're going to be hanging out with them. So when you get over there, drop the graduation caps. We'll catch you guys tomorrow morning. Use some risk management. Peace, love, profits. Catch you guys later.
I don't know what they keep telling me. I don't know what they keep telling me. on rolling out the wheels fall off. I know you hungry for knowledge, that's profit appetite. Classes in session, this for the Army Piper acolytes. Trade flag at the soul train ready. What a line from most
Emotional damage.
Crunch crypto with a deep dive to project dime. And if you like the visual powered by Tar Prime, then you will part of that alumni, that's all spine. But if you have step, fall back to offline.
Boom shakalaka!
We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling out the wheels fall off. Sound off.
To get with them, the ZTS rhythm. Alexandra.
Yeah, that's my alumni, you know what I mean? You can't handle the truth!
That was awesome, dude.